for sure. And hopefully we'll get underway shortly, and there's no glitch lobbies. We are waiting for the 5 red lights. It is soaked here in France. It's not like the weather we're used to seeing, that is for sure. There are puddles all over the place as we do wait for the 5 red lights, and here they come. It's 4 and it's 5 red lights, and we are underway. It's a slow start here in France. There's a couple of drivers trying to get out of the way. The Mercedes in the background of Neelix, who's gone off very slowly, but it is Hypers who leads through turn 1, and hopefully they'll get all through cleanly. Oh, that's a Mercedes coming very deep, and that is not very good from whoever that was. Colden, I think, has absolutely missed his braking point by a long way, and he is round, and there's another McLaren round as well. Not sure who that is. There's a Ferrari off as well. I have no idea what is going on in the background. Apparently Dodgy's in my P10. There's absolute bedlam all over the place. There's SLR Charlie trying to get through past the Ferrari. Oh, there's a Red Bull down the inside. And I think that is, I don't know who that is. I think that's Cosmic Cameron. They're side by side battling. There's the timer screens finally make their way, sort themselves out again. Jester is not right behind, as Sprightly's got a couple of cars behind him. Maxwell is up into P6, fam, for after
start. I was just had my Neelix there. Obviously, I think he struggled with traction off the line. Must have lost 6 positions there. I think just got swamped by all the drivers around him. But I didn't catch Colin. I wonder if it had to do with maybe rejoining his car from the AI. I wonder if that had to do with it, but he seems to be back in control anyway. So
he does. I think his tyres must have been that cold, or he just missed his braking point slightly, and that was all she wrote, really. And unfortunately, I don't know if Cowan or Colden has left the session again, so the connection's not that great.
Yeah.
It seems like, Dodgy, unfortunately, has got damage. So that is not a great start to his race, that is for sure. As Cosmic Cameron is going down positions, that's got to avoid people. Stolfen has had a bad start, and Hypers does set the fastest lap, and that is Lofty going slowly ahead of him. As there's a big train, and you can't really see what's going on ahead of the drivers, but as all the telemetry is all over the place. But yeah, Gareth is up into P13. Sprightly, what's happened to him? Has he lost a couple of positions? Not sure how, but that is Maxwell up into the top 5. And I was almost did I say Maxwell for another podium. I didn't on this occasion. And it would have been a brave man would have gone for that. I believe that would be Monaco, Baku, Canada. Can it be France? Surely not for Maxwell, but we'll have to wait and see as he's up into P5, and ahead of him is Dodgy with wing damage.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at the position changes here. We've got some big losers here. Obviously, Colin down to last. Dolphin had a bad start. He's down 10 positions, but just having a look, we've got Scott and Grumpy Orange making big moves. Maxwell obviously up to P5. What a start he's had for the McLaren. Just looking. They're starting to spread out a bit now, though. We're finding kind of packs throughout the field, so I'll try and keep an eye on some of the battles going on here.
Yeah, obviously Colden was outbraked himself by a long way, and has given Dodgy an uphill climb for the rest of this race. There's a train. I said Jester was, as the time the screens decided to do one on me. Thank you, game, best game ever. But Jester, as I said, he was good in the wet, and Cowan is right up the rear as well. So Dodgy's keeping him honest. Cowan is absolutely flying out front at the moment. Does set fastest. Maxwell goes 2 seconds quicker, and here comes Dodgy down the inside. He's going to stick his nose very tentatively. Oh, it's a bit cautious. Oh, he hits the back of him as Jester loses out because of that. But here comes Russell as well on Maxwell, and they're side by side, so it's a bit 2x2 here. As is Russell going down the inside, and he does, and he's up into P5, but does pick up a time penalty for his troubles, and it's now a 3.5 second gap almost from Dodgy back, from Dodgy to his teammate, and it's going up to almost towards 4 seconds, and there's absolutely no visibility. As I was on board with Maxwell there, and Russell was trying to have his go, but he's all over the track, so this is not going to help him if he wants a decent finish. He's gonna have to keep going. But here comes Russell in the slipstream. He's gaining. You can see the back of Jester, but he breaks very early and decides not to go for that in the end. As Geddes and Scott going at it in the background, and Scott I think has gone up and he's had a good start as well. So there's a lot of big winners and a lot of big losers as well.
Yeah, I just saw Scott make the move on Geddes. He went, used a bit of ERS into the chicane, so he's had a good start. He obviously lost out in Q1, but making moves. Obviously, people that seem to start from the back seem to benefit with what went on around them at the start of the race. But yeah, we've seen some big jumpers, obviously. Charlie thereabouts as well, and his teammate. So he'll be looking to make a move.
Hyper slightly gets a little bit out of shape on the exit, and there's going to be some team orders in play. It looks like it as Charlie does make the move, and it was a bit choreographed there as he's up into the 7th place ahead of his teammate in P8. Cowan is still keeping Hypers honest out front as Maxwell lost out because of Dodgy and Jester going at it, as Russell was the beneficiary there as Lofty picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. So then we've had a pretty frenetic start, but it's Hypers who leads 1.2 seconds back is Cowan in P2. Then comes Dodgy, who's catching his teammate a little bit more now as his wing damage is not really affecting him as much as I thought it might do, but it may do later on into the stint, and will give him a bit more tyre wear as the front wheel slide. Jester in P4, Russell is up into P5 and is hunting the back of Jester, but does have a time penalty to his name. And then comes Maxwell P6, Charlie P7, Sprightly P8, Scott in P9, and Geddes rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a train starting to form here now from P4 down to about P13 with Garrett. They seem to be pulling away a bit from Baggy Fan, but yeah, obviously the top three really starting to show their pace in the wet, pulling away a bit from the rest of the field as Hypers picks up a penalty. But Hypers seems to be pulling away from Cohen actually the last couple of laps, so he's really starting to strut his stuff.
Golden sets the fastest lap, but he is a whole 48 seconds behind the pack at the moment. It's just for fun really. Just for pride, unless there's a safety car soon. But as you say, as Grumpy Orange is going for a move on Jay Geddes out of nowhere, and I missed that, but must have made a mistake then in that case as Geddes. But it seems to be the other Alfa Romeo now who's had his turn form, but it's Hypers who obviously picked up a time penalty as they've little by little they start rolling in, as Dodgy does set the fast lap of 47.4, and he has definitely used quite a bit of ERS on that lap as well to maybe mask a little bit of his pace, but he's definitely got a lot of pace at the moment, and he's not shying away at the moment even with the wing damage that he has on the front left end plate.
Yeah, just looking at Charlie here, he's flying really. As we said before the race, he loves the wet. He's hunting down Maxwell at the minute, kind of about halfway mark on the ERS, so it'll be interesting to see if he makes a move up the straight.
I wouldn't go on the ERS that early, Charlie. You're going to be wasting it at this point, as a car in the background runs a little bit wide but keeps it all together. Russell another 3-second time penalty, so he's going to have to try and keep them down, but he's still got a long way to go as the leading Ferrari driver at the moment, as Dodgy is within the second now of his teammate and is gaining fast, but yeah, I think we might see some team orders soon, but we know the two Alfa Romeos definitely work well with each other as they did last time out, but it's still Renault from an Alfa Romeo, from an Alfa Romeo, from a Renault, as the top four are the only drivers to not change. But Jester is definitely the slowest out of all, as that is Baggy Fan, and he is out of the session as he span out of the fast right-hander, and at turn 11 I think that is, no, turn 10 actually,
VSC.
the VSC for that, and that doesn't help Holden one bit, but they all slow down and they all go 40% of their pace, and they have to stick to a delta, and they all will stay in their positions. The pack doesn't bunch up like a safety car.
I'd say Colden is cursing the game at the minute. Would have been hoping for a full safety car, obviously, but I don't know, still plenty of time to go in the race, obviously, in wet conditions. As we know, anything can happen. That fast right-hander might claim another few cars, hopefully not, but tricky corner in the wet, so interesting to see.
Yeah. Obviously flat out in the dry, but when you get in the wet, it's very loose on the rear end. And Steve-O has picked up a drive-through penalty for speeding
Yeah.
under VSC, and it hasn't really gone well for Steve-O at all. How long do the inters last? Probably about half the race. Usually is. Jester has had an unbelievable restart here. Not Jester. Russell's had an unbelievable restart. He's overtaken Jester. Jester's had a poor one, and out of nowhere, Russell was down the inside as he made the move. Stick still side by side of the Renault and the Ferrari. Russell's trying to try and dance around the outside of Jester. Gets forced onto the curb, but Russell does make that move, and he is up into P4 for now. But Jester's going to fight back. It's going to go side by side into his fast right-hander, and Jester's going to be ahead before we turn in. As Russell has to stick behind, he's right up his gearbox. He's going to try and go down the inside
Oh
now.
no!
The double right-hander.
God.
Russell's round, and Maxwell's got to try and avoid him, but he's lost a lot of time because of that. They've all had to slow down behind. It's a good save from Russell. But here comes Charlie, trying to have a little look at Maxwell, who's been held up by Russell. But they all have to stay behind, and Russell is right up the gearbox of Maxwell, and they're losing more and more time behind Jester as they come to blows, and Russell's lucky not to have a full-on spin there from that contact.
Was a bit it's kind of wincing seeing him going into the corner there. Probably shouldn't have stuck his nose in. We've seen incidents similar in Div 2 earlier, people trying to stick it up the inside there, but probably should have waited maybe for the final straight, but hasn't lost out too much. He's still only a second back, but be interested to see if he can close that gap up again.
Yeah, we can see. I should have a look at Bournemouth's Sprite, but he doesn't get close enough in the end, and they're still in the train. There's Grumpy Orange has jumped off the back a bit, so there's a couple of trains at the moment. Scott has joined the back of this train, probably benefiting from, well, kind of joined the back of this train. He's still about second, so he's lost a bit of time through that section, so he must have made a little bit of a mistake because he was within a second. But Russell has dropped back now. So he stays in P5, and Jester's going to have to try and regroup himself here, as he's definitely struggling for pace at the moment. But still a long way to go, as we're only on lap 7. Lap 27, as Golden still goes full out at the back of the grid, at the back of the pack at the moment. And he'll keep trying his luck, as Steve-O has served his drive through. Neelix has made a move on Geddes, who seems like he's made a mistake, possibly, or he's just been overtaken and let Neelix go, as Neelix is a long way ahead of him already, and Geddes seems to be struggling at the moment at this current stage, but he needs to regroup himself, as he's got Gareth on the back of him, so we'll keep him on board at the moment, as we'll see if Gareth can get the job done on Geddes. A little bit of a back end loss from Geddes through turn 14, and here comes Gareth then in the slipstream in the toe. Geddes pulls away, seems like he got a bit of a better exit, but here comes Gareth then. He's in the slipstream, he's gaining. Is he going to go down the inside? Doesn't look like it. He backs out of it in the end and settles for P13 for now, but he does get a better exit, does Gareth. And is he going to have a run down into turn 3? I don't think he is. He's probably going to wait for the straight, and I think that move is going to be coming very shortly. But we'll go back on board with this train for P5 at the moment. As they're kind of just a bit equidistant really, as the gap's gone up to 3.4 seconds now, as Hypers has found a bit of his mojo, and Cowan is just cannot follow Hypers, so it seems to be going all Hypers' way at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just watching Jester myself there at the minute. Gap to Dodgy was about 3 seconds there last lap, so it's ever so slightly starting to come down now the last couple of laps, so I wonder if the damage Dodgy has, is starting to take its toll, but still pace seems to be still good from Dodgy, considering he's missing an end plate. But yeah, I reckon we could see Jester try to make a move in the next couple of laps, I'd say.
Geddes has lost a couple of positions here. Cosmic Cameron, formerly known as Geddes is lagging a little bit there, but seems to have fixed itself a little bit, so that was a momentary lapse in the connection. As Hypers, it's the fastest lap, so he is definitely on the pace, and as you say, Jester is under 2 seconds now, or about 2 seconds, as he does set the fastest lap himself. It's like Hypers and Jester in unison. One sets the fastest lap and the other says, no, I'll take that from you, and they just decided, you know what, this is the time we attack, put the Alfa Romeos under pressure. He's got one in front, one behind, as Jester starts to close in the gap to both of the Alfa Romeos, as Cameron picks up a penalty as they start to flood in a little bit more, as this little train has come a bit more spread out, and the gaps come a little bit more spread out. As, oh my word, I'm on board with Russell, and he's slid out of that long right hander, and he's off the track, but he's managed to save it, and he's gone all the way off the track. He's going to be careful he doesn't get a time penalty for that, as I think that's Sprightly going to try and make a move. Yeah, falls up alongside, and has the momentum and has the position, and he's up into P7. That puts Maxwell back up into P5 where he was before, so had to wait a little while to get it back, but yeah, P5 is his for now, and Charlie and Sprightly follow along.
Yeah, dodgy after closing up a couple of tenths to his teammate as well, Cohen ahead. I'm just wondering if Cohen made a mistake or something like that, but Dodgy doing a stellar job so far considering the damage. I wonder if his teammate is maybe just towing him along, just kind of giving him a hand. Obviously he can probably see the gap to Jester closing down behind him, so I wonder if he's just going to try and nick a slipstream off him. Just give him all the help he can get. But
Cowan has gone a bit faster this lap as well, so yeah, it seems to be fluctuating, but Hypers has the high ground. Jester picks up a 3-second time penalty on the exit at the final corner. Bit odd, but that's going to hamper. So both Renaults both have time penalties, and we know the Alfa Romeos are pretty good at track limits. So yeah, welcome along to the 45 viewers at the moment. Last time I looked, yeah, 44 has gone down to, but yeah, welcome along, and I hope you're enjoying so far. We have Neelix making a move, and has made a move on Grand Prix Orange, but we have Hypers in the lead then, as it's lap 10 of the French Grand Prix in Division 3, leads by just under 3 seconds from Cowan in P2. Then comes Dodgy with a bit of front wing damage in P3, and a Jester in P4. Maxwell's up to P5 after starting down in P14, and then comes Charlie and Sprightly, the two racing points having a good race, and then comes Russell in P8, but has a few penalties to his name already. Scott just picked up a time penalty in P9. Yellow flag in sector 2, and that is Jay Geddes or Lofty. I don't know which one.
Lofty. Yeah,
Lofty
had a bit of a moment. Just looking. I think he might have been alright. Yeah, not any visible damage anyway. Just think he had a bit of a moment coming onto the exit onto the straight. So not ideal, obviously, for one of the leading drivers of the championship. So he'll have to try and make that time up again. But he has the pace to do so. So it'll be interesting to see if he can close back up.
Oh, we have Russell off the track again, and he's going very wide. Oh my word! He almost collects Neelix. I don't know where he's driving as Russell, but he seems to be getting out of everyone's way. Or does he? Oh my word, he's almost absolutely ruined Grand Prix. He's had a bit of a mistake there, as Dodgy is right at the back of his teammate. So Cowan said he's had some good laps, some bad laps, is Cowan at the moment, but yeah, his teammate is right behind him. And yeah, Hypers is pulling clear at the moment, but also does have a penalty to his name, so we'll wait and see. But they will be coming into the pits within the next few laps. You'll start to see a few drivers come in for their one and only stop. They don't have to stop in wet conditions, but I don't think the tyres, especially in these cars, go too quick for a no stop, I'm sure, especially in a game. Here comes Dodgy, but he's not going to make a move just yet. The gap is now 4 seconds to Hypers.
Yeah, so we've got a big gap starting to form all over the field, really. Obviously, we said before the race, Charlie, one to keep an eye on. He's making moves all over the back of Maxwell at the minute, so be interesting to
Oh,
see.
just going to cut you off there, Panthers.
on.
Russell and Grumpy Orange have made contact, and Cameron's got
Russell
past.
Brown.
Oh, Russell's off. Russell's round, and he's got I don't know how he's managed to spin it there, but he's got a boot for a throttle through there, and well, he's taken out some marker boards in the middle of the straight where the chicane is, and yeah, he's gone for the biggest slide. He's on a bit of a grosjean there, and he's round. Briefly for a split second there, Gareth was 0.333 behind Cameron.
I didn't catch that. Cameron though, 3.333 nearly. Just missed it. But Russell needs to be careful here. I wonder if he lit his tyres up. He could be shaky coming through these next couple of corners. Obviously, if the tyres have a bit of heat in them. Obviously not ideal for the wets, but yeah, seems to be struggling. Seems to be struggling so far in this wet conditions. But yeah, dodgy all over the back of his teammates still. Probably just maybe helping him out a bit, considering the wing damage and all. But yeah.
Yeah, I think this is allowing Jester to catch up a little bit more, because Cowan definitely doesn't have the pace of Hypers, and well, on the ERS front they're pretty similar, the top two, and then Jester hasn't barely used any, so you'd think if he actually got a move on with that, he'd be flying. Maxwell has used a lot of his, Charlie's used a lot of his. There's a yellow flag, and that is Russell round again. Just at the start of Sector 2, and his tyres have definitely cried enough now. They really want to be off the car. Cameron has made a move on Gareth. Or has he? Is Gareth going to try and come back at the Red Bull man in the slipstream in the toe? He's gaining. Is he going inside or out? Cameron's going to force him to the outside. And it's a downshift down to 7th gear, and he stays in 11th place. This is for the final points paying position, as there's a yellow flag, and Russell is off again. I'm not sure what he's doing. This is more strictly come dancing, F1 come dancing, than racing around France at the moment, as he's spinning it all over the place.
Yeah.
There's a couple of drivers are in the pits.
Yeah, I think Russell needs to get in as soon as he can here. If I can see his steering wheel right, I think his tyres are over 100 degrees now, which is far from what, as he's retired. Oh.
This could cause a safety car. It's a VSC, and Colden is probably absolutely raging at the all now, as this is going to, well, I don't know if this is going to benefit Maxwell and Sprightly that much, because they were already in the pits. Might help him out a little bit, but they were, Maxwell was about 4 seconds back from Jester, so I'd imagine we find as Sprightly as it was all going so well
for the race.
Sprightly was on for his first points, and now he's right on the back foot with a drive-through penalty.
Scott Laney, he's just put on the Inter tyres, Marks.
Oh, hello. Let's get the tyres up. I mean, we haven't had to change to the tyres because they're all on the same. But he's put on the intermediate tyres. That's a brave man. But we'll have a brief look at what he's doing. So it's not battles at the moment. The two Williams are close to each other. Neelix, wrong thing. Neelix is very close actually. So we'll get on board with Neelix. He's lost out a bit through that right-hander behind Scott. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see progress of Scott Laney, but I don't think that's the right decision.
I've just been looking at the intervals there, and he's dropped 1.5 seconds in the space of 2 corners, so I think he might have got it wrong on that front. Whether it was a mistake on the MFD or whatever, but...
Oh no! It's a double sack down at Renault, and Jester's going to lose out big time now. This is going to come up massively as Neelix decides to not pit when he could have. And so Cowan leads then for the first time this afternoon. Russell leaves the session, and yeah, there's a lot of pit action, and
interesting.
Jester's only now coming down the pit lane. Maxwell coming down the pit straight. They're going to be side by side coming down into turn 1, and Maxwell has jumped. He has jumped. Jester because of that, because of a mixture of the VSC, a mixture of the double sack, and that is put pay to Jester's good running in P4, and Maxwell at the moment is in a net P4 as Cowan, Charlie, Neelix, Gareth, Grumpy Orange, Dolphin, and Lofty and Stevo yet to pit, as Scott Laney has come into the pits.
Oh, yeah, got it wrong down in the Red Bull garage, but yeah, I'd be interested to see where Maxwell ends up here when I think we've got 6 drivers in front left the pit, so it'd be interesting to see where he comes out.
Oh, Dodgy hasn't changed his damage, but maybe he's content with driving like that. He's obviously thought that it's not enough to change, but he has still got the damage, and look at the gap between Hypers and Dodgy now.
Oh wow, I didn't even notice that.
Oh, and Cowar's fed into the pits.
No.
It's all coming up. Hypers at the moment.
Hyper's absolutely licking his lip.
And Charlie as well. Oh my word! What are you doing, boys?
I mean, you just have to break that bit earlier, don't you? In the weight, obviously, takes a bit longer to slow down, but yeah.
That's probably picking up a 3-second. Hypers carries on then, so he will retake the lead. As Cowan and Charlie will have 5-second time penalties to their name, and well, Hypers doesn't really have to do much anymore. Really, he just has to keep it on track. As Cowan comes out behind Grumpy Orange, as Maxwell sets the fastest lap. So he's loving life on the new tyres. And we have to watch a bit careful people on the exit of the pit lane, people coming out on track. Here comes Cosmic Cameron down into turn 1, and he's going to be side by side with a Mercedes of Neelix, and he's just ahead of Neelix for now, as Neelix is going to have a go here. He's going to be in the slipstream. Which way is he going to go? This way and that. Cameron's kind of weaving all over the track at the moment, but he stays ahead for now, but it seems to be quite close for a move to happen, as Hypers is a long way clear now of the 2 Alfa Romeos, and Jester is right at the back, as Neelix is right at the back of Maxwell, and we know Maxwell's very good at defending, and how good is he today?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I'm just looking at the ARS. I think Jester's up at about the 70% mark here, Maxwell obviously very low, so Jester just probably needs to be patient over the next couple of laps and hopefully make his move when it comes to the straight and get back up to P5. But yeah, he'll have to start pulling away from Maxwell now, obviously with the pain and all. So yeah, he'll have to try and put the boot down, get the pace up. So
I'll quickly go. Well, Hyper sets the fastest lap at the Grand Prix, but Grumpy Orange has decided to stay out. It's been a bit of a blow. I'm about to say a blowed rock. I mean, I don't even know myself at this point. A bit of a roadblock. That is a great line. A bit of a blowed rock. Doesn't even make sense. But yes, he's still ahead, and well, it's very hard to overtake in the wet. But Jester's going to try and make a move here around the outside. That's a very brave man to do that around the outside of turn 5. Now down around the outside, he's going to sit in behind for turn 6. Cowan picks up a 3-second time penalty as well as yellow flag in sector 1.
That's a Mercedes.
Oh, it's a Mercedes of Neelix who's round. And here comes Jester. But he's not enough. Dodgy is right on the back of Cowan at the moment. And it is getting quite close for these guys, as Cowan finally decides to get a move on. They're side by side, I think, still coming into this right hander. He's going to go right around the outside, and thank you very much. Dodgy's going to get put off completely by that. And now there's a bit of a gap between the 2 Alfa Romeos. It's Dodgy's turn to get past Grumpy Orange.
I'd say Cowan isn't happy at all. He's dropped back nearly 10 seconds back now from Hypers after kind of getting stuck behind the Williams driver who's yet to pit. But be interested to see if he can try and start close the gap now. Obviously, he has the the speed and pain as well. So we'll have to take that into account too. But yeah, the Alfa Romeo driver is going to have to get the foot down here now and start trying to close up that gap. Oh.
He will, as Jake Ellis dropped behind Dolphin. Dolphin made a move. But yeah, Grumpion just staying out. I think he's just hoping for. I don't even know what he's hoping for now. Hoping for a safety car, and I hate to be that guy, but I feel like this race is going to be needing a safety car. As that is very deep from the Williams driver, and that's going to hold up Dodgy even more. He's going to go down the inside, going to sliver down the inside. He's going to force Grumpy Orange to the outside onto the curb, and then it'll be Maxwell coming up, and he will want to try and get past Grumpy Orange as quick as he can, because he's got Jester on the back of him, and Jester's coming out. He's going for it. Jester's going for it here. There could be 3 wide on the straight. Maxwell pulls to the inside. Jester pulls to the inside even more. He squeezes them to the outside. They're going to go 3 wide briefly on the straight. Oh, there's contact. There's a little bit of contact. Maxwell turns in. Jester has to stick behind Grumpy Orange, and they all stick in one direction. And thank you very much. And that is good racing from the boys.
Jester tapped the back of Grumpy Orange there, and just wondering if he picked up any damage. I don't think he did though, just ever so slightly hit him, but yeah, I winced a bit, 3 wide into that chicane. Oh, as Charlie's around the outside of Jester.
Oh, I missed that completely.
Move.
Because Gareth and Cameron, and there he goes. He has got a 5-second penalty to his name as well, which may hamper him and hamper his progress. And he's on the charge, but he hasn't got much ERS.
It was a great move from Charlie.
He's finally in.
Finally pit. Yeah, I
and
think.
After all that, he's.
Yeah, Charlie made his move around that right-hander after the kind of second part of the straight. Went around the outside and then into that double right. Made a great move around the outside of Jester. So I think Jester has the ERS advantage here again, but he seems to be managing it quite well, so it'll be interesting to see if he can get back to Charlie here now on this straight.
Yeah, Jester is he's struggling at the moment. He seems to be just things are not going his way at the moment. Yeah, not as well as his teammate anyway. Yeah, his teammate is comfortably clear and kind of can just not take any risks. But his teammate does need to take some risks, and he's going to use some of the ERS, but he's not going to go for the move as Golden is up into P15, but he may have to stop again because he's on 16 lap old tyres.
Yeah, I think we've Cole and Lofty yet to pit as well, unless he's going to chance the no stop, but I'm not sure. I've never tried it personally. I don't think it's probably the viable strategy, but you never know. A safety car, as you said, it's wet conditions. Safety car is always possible, so maybe he's holding out for one. See, we've got some battles going on throughout the field, so who knows? We could see one yet.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely spice things up if there was a safety car. I don't want anybody to crash. Oh, Jester's got wing damage.
Oh, he picked up damage
from somewhere. I don't know where he got it from, but he's got it from somewhere on the front right end plate.
Yeah, as I say, he gave a little tap into the back of Grumpy Orange there a while ago when they were 3 wide into the chicane. So I wonder if that's where he picked it up.
Yeah, I reckon that is where he got it. But yeah, it seems like Dodgy is going to be the man who is going to try and get ahead of his teammate, and I wonder if he'll just let him go, because Dodgy, I mean, I don't know how much pace he's got, but he's going to have some relentless pace, as Dodgy will be the favourite out of the 2 Alfa Romeos to try and get this. And I don't want to speak too soon, but Maxwell doesn't have any penalties at the moment, and he is obviously counting on that 5 seconds to add to his time. He's also picked up another time penalty, so even if depending on what happens to the rest of this race, Colin does pit once again, and it's not been a good race for Mercedes at all.
Yeah, unfortunate, the boys are struggling. It seemed to be
really been
bit of confidence in the
Yeah.
camp there, kind of during the week with practice and all. The lads seem to be confident, but obviously, I think the rain throwing a bit of a spanner in the works here. So, yeah, I'm just looking. I think Charlie seems to be pulling away from Jester as well. So, I think
Just
that
is
damage isn't doing him any favours.
he is definitely struggling at the moment. Good news for Charlie at the moment is that Scott is well, I say a long way back. He's about 7, 8, almost 10 seconds behind him. Yeah, there's a lot of understeer in Jester's car at the moment. There is not really a lot going on. Bit of action down the back we could see. You never know.
Yeah,
Closest
closest
a
on
bit of action.
Yeah, close on track seems to be Colin and Scott, and we've got Dodgy and Cohen at the front. Obviously, that gap seems to be quite consistent at the minute. I'd say they're probably happy enough to just carry on. Obviously, Dodgy will probably, as if providing they both finish, obviously he'll get the jump on Cohen.
Neelix bits.
Neelix has pace.
That's going to relegate Neelix down. I don't know, probably. Oh, yellow flag. Cameron is off the track, spinning around, not in the wall, and not into the side of Grumpy Orange, thankfully, because that looks a little bit of a dangerous re-entry. But yeah, as well, Dodgy's struggling a bit himself as Neelix comes out behind Sprightly.
Neelix had to change a wing as well, so obviously must have had a bit of a moment somewhere. Didn't catch it, but.
So then, is Colden going to have a go? It doesn't seem like it. This is the closest battle on the track. It's come to a bit of a stalemate at the moment everywhere else. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that Cowan obviously got that 5-second time limit for speed, and Charlie as well, because they're both on for good races. Is Lofty really going to try and take these tyres all the way to the end of the Grand Prix? It'd be ridiculous if he does.
Yeah. That'd be unbelievable, really. I never even didn't think that'd be even possible, to be honest. The no stop. We've never seen it.
He hasn't stopped yet. The no stop strategy is possible. It's allowed. Not the fastest. He hasn't got much traction as Lofty. I'm not really at all surprised.
Yeah, just seen he got a bit squirm in the exit here, so probably be one to keep an eye on here the next couple of laps to see if them tyres really do fall off. I think Jester, even with Jester's damage in front, he still kind of seems to be gapping Lofty a bit, so interesting to see. Still hoping a safety car maybe Lofty is, but he's starting to run out of laps here now, so he has to make the decision soon. Is he going to commit to the no stop, or is he going to pit, or what? So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Interesting indeed. As Dodgy gets close once again, as Lofty does pick up a time penalty. That's not going to help him get that position. As Sprightly sets the fastest lap, but he is all the way down in P14. Really a shame for Sprightly that he got that drive through, because he was on for a decent finish with his teammate for today, SLR Charlie, who we did say was did like the wet conditions. Dodgy is 6/10 now behind his teammate, and I think Dodgy's going to be P2 regardless, but he doesn't really have the pace at the moment to get past and get close enough so that his teammate can let him go. But we have to wait and see if that ever happens. But I would indeed love a safety car to close this race up. And,
spice things up a bit.
It would, especially with penalties as well.
Exactly. I think obviously the Alfa Romeo boys, they just seem to be happy enough, content to how they're going. I think catching Hyper is probably out of question at the minute. His pace just seems very good. You know, he's been around the kind of between 8 and 10 seconds ahead here since the pit stops came into play. So I think they're just accepting the double podium as it stands. Great points for Alfa Romeo.
Maxwell catching.
He's catching.
Maxwell's catching the pair. Charlie is also coming along as well, and we could get spicy, even if it's just for on track. Yeah, it gives you a bit of confidence going into future races that you can, dice it out with these boys. Maxwell currently is on for his third place finish in a row.
It's I mean, that's unbelievable, really, isn't it? Considering, I mean, he's up. Just looking at position change, he's up 10 positions as well. So, I mean, what a start he had. I think he was up to like P6 after the first couple of corners. So I don't know how he managed it, but what a drive from the McLaren driver again so far.
He's unbelievable. Just since Monaco, he's just absolutely turned the wick up. But yeah, all he has to do is stay within 5 seconds of Cowan, minimum, and that position is his. As we're on lap 22, about near the end of lap 22 for our race leader Hypers. As he's had a bit of a mistake as Hypers somewhere, because Cowan has just gained a second on him. This lap, more than a second than him on this lap. So I don't have a look. Hopefully Hypers is okay. Yellow flag, and that is Scott Laney around near Colden. So hopefully they haven't come together. But he has spun. He hasn't not got damage.
Sorry for damage.
Hyper seems to be all right as well. He just made a mistake by the looks of it. Hopefully he isn't depositing any sort of sand along the way. No. We do have to say that Hypers is relentless at the moment, and all jokes aside, he has put in an unbelievable performance, that's for sure. As Charlie, he's right on the back of Maxwell at the moment. As Grumpy Orange is in the pits again, and I think this time around, Cowan is going to let his teammate go, and he's going to have a charge. Hopefully, it is dodgy. And if Hypers get, I don't know how many. I think Hypers has at least one penalty. As Grumpy Orange goes on to the intermediate compound tyres. Scott Laney tried that once before, and yeah. Yeah,
I don't think it stopped raining either. So it probably isn't the answer. Could be wrong, but I think I'm just wondering, is it maybe too little, too late for the Alpha boys to have made that switch? Obviously, dodgy with no pins yet to try and kind of close that gap to Hypers, but I'm wondering, is it with 4 laps to go?
Yeah, Steve-O picks up another time penalty. We'll quickly go back on board with Charlie as he's having a look here at Maxwell. He's practically pushing him round the track at the moment. And he seems to have found a bit more pace out of nowhere. And Cowan has just lost a bit of pace. So, as Charlie picks up another time penalty and almost loses the car.
Just gets a bit loose,
loosey-goosey.
Loosey-goosey. Race is looking good. Last couple of laps from Charlie, though. We said before the race started, he's loves the wet. We said that a couple of times now, but really showing again that he's a bit of an expert in the wet. So, great race so far.
Yes, it is for him at the moment. And the gap is now 10 seconds out front, and Hypers is really stretching his legs. And he is going for it. Is the Renault driver. And he is on his way for lights to flag. I think it's lights. Oh no, not lights to flag. I think Cowan actually led a lap. I don't know. But still, he's on his way from pole position. As that is Grumpy Orange, I believe. On the intermediate compound tyres, we've got no grip, and I'm not surprised because I'm not quite sure why you'd be on the intermediate tyres. I guess he's chanced his hand at it as Neelix is down the straight. Getting close to Steve-O, but not close enough. As Charlie is still behind Maxwell at the moment, as Maxwell doesn't have any penalties, along with Dolphin, who could gain a couple of positions. He's on to gain a couple of positions at the moment, maybe even more, because he could get P7 here with Lofty on the still on the same tyres he started with.
Still going, unbelievable. Don't think I haven't been in SLR that long, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone do a no-stop. Be a great finish for him. Obviously, he didn't even get out for qualifying. I don't think, did he miss out?
Missed out in Q2, I think it was it?
Yeah.
Or was it not?
He got disconnected, I think. But yeah, great results so far. Things stay the way they are.
Yeah. So then, is Charlie going to have a go? Maxwell knows that he doesn't have the penalties. so he can just doesn't need to fight this. Does the Scotsman. Sprightly picks up another time penalty, but he's down in P13 and a long way back. Gareth is right up the back now of SLR Scott for P8, and they can really start to attack Lofty and put him under pressure. 24 laps on those tyres, and he's going to, well, I think it's possible. I don't know how many, but I hope he doesn't have too many penalties to force himself out of the top 10, but it'd be a great effort at least. We're on lap 25. We're just in the middle of lap 25, or near the end of lap 25 for Hypers at least, as Grumpy Orange has lost it again in front of Hypers, as Charlie still stares down the gearbox of the McLaren driver ahead of him. And yeah, we'll see. They've kind of pulling him along really as Maxwell at the moment. Cowan is keeping with Dodgy, but the penalty is going to put pay to his efforts here. It's another strong drive from the Alfa Romeo, so he should be happy with that. As yeah, he's put in a tremendous performance once again, despite the penalties.
Yeah, I think with Dodgy as well, obviously, great shout not to change that wing as well, considering any damage. Obviously paid off. His pace has still been decent, considering he's missing an end plate. So good shout from himself to avoid the change and keep the position. Up to P2 now, so it's obviously paid dividends. So fair play to him.
Here comes Charlie. He's going to go down the inside. He's going to have a look. He backs out though, and he stays behind. And Grumpy Orange, who's been lapped, is behind them, and Neelix makes a move up into P14 just for pride really. And yeah, he has got past Steve-O. So we have a lap and a half to go. Start getting your driver of the day votes in the chat, as Freeman's already voted for Maxwell driver of the day. Here comes Charlie once again, and he has to settle in behind. As Jester is 3.2 seconds back. Lofty is still going on those tyres. Here comes Gareth in the tow. He's not using his ERS. Why isn't he using ERS now? He could have a go. Maybe he's going to have a dart on the final lap, but even then, Nigel, still wouldn't have mattered to me. But Scott stays ahead for now, and Gareth is still in P9, but is right on the gearbox, as you can see on the mini-map. As I'm going to quickly give a look. Is he going to have a move, Gareth? He's going to have a dart down the inside. It's put pay to People's Race before, and he has to stay behind for P9 as we are on to the final lap of the race. Here, Hypers leads by just under 9 seconds to Dodgy in second. Then comes Cowan with penalties, yellow flag in sector 3, and that is SLR Scott.
Scott's round.
No, it's Dolphin who's spun, I think. And Scott and Gareth are going side by side, and Dolphin, who didn't have any pens, was on for a decent finish, has put himself under pressure here to get any points at the moment. He's picked up a time penalty as well, as Jay Geddes gets past, and Dolphin is struggling here. I'm not sure what's going on. He's capitulated really in the final moments here, and he's probably going to struggle to get any points. Gareth is ahead of Scott on the final lap of the Grand Prix, as Scott picks up a time penalty, so he may not finish ahead of him at all, as Hypers is on his way then near the end of sector 2, and he is over 9 seconds clear. Charlie doesn't seem like he's going to make that move, and he's got 0% ERS at the moment. I don't know why he's kept his overtake on. He probably forgot to turn it off at this point. He's just trying his best to do anything, but this race has been about one man and one man only, and that is SLR Hypers. He has been the man of the race, that's for sure. Nobody has come close. He's since qualifying, yellow flag in sector 3, and that's Grumpy Orange getting out of the way. That's not going to affect Hypers though. The Renault man has been absolutely dominant. He has picked up a penalty, but that's not going to stop him from winning this Grand Prix. This is going to put himself back to the top of the championship ahead of his teammate. He rounds the final corner and goes up towards the pit wall, and he is going to come across the line as Charlie has gone off somewhere in the final sector, and he wins the French Grand Prix as Jester gets past Charlie. Dodgy comes home to finish second place. Carroll crosses the line in third place. Then comes Maxwell, who takes over that mantle of third place. Jester comes across the line, and it's just P5 for him. Charlie has ran out of fuel, so that's why he lost time. Grumpy Orange is a lap down. Charlie has an unserved time penalty. Here comes Lofty, and he has done an absolutely brilliant race. What is he going to get in the end? It's going to be P7 on track. It's going to go down to P8. It's Gareth
unlucky.
takes P7. Scott comes up towards the line, and it's P9 for him. Then comes Geddes in P10. The Dolphin's going to come across the line, and it's not points for him, unfortunately. So he picked up a penalty end and lost a lot of time at the end of the day. And then comes Cameron in P12 as we end up with the non-points paying finishers. But as these guys come to the end of their race, what a performance from Hypers, despite the penalty, but there was no one going to take that win away from him today.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely stellar drive from the Renault man. Obviously, before the race started, he highlighted he's after getting a new setup, I believe, a wheel and all, so hasn't taken him long to kind of get used to everything. So obviously showing his stuff today. I mean, the pace was unbelievable, so a deserving winner in my opinion. But obviously a shout out to Maxwell as well. Great drive, up 11 positions to find himself on the podium yet again. So fair play to the McLaren man.
I mean, fair play indeed. I mean, I have to say, a shout out to Lofty as he managed to make those tyres go all the way to the end. It was pretty. Well, I mean, I wasn't expecting it, but I'd love to know what his tyres are on come the end of that race.
If you could let us know, that'd be great. I'd be interested to find out myself. I don't think I've ever seen that, to be honest. A no stop. So
only in Diff 3, I reckon. Only in Diff 3. Would you see some sort of strategy like that?
Yeah, master call.
There's Hypers with the champagne, and that is going to taste ever so sweet as he is on to 124 points, and the championship lead ahead of his teammate. Dodgy might be closing the gap even more, especially to Jester, but Hypers extends and Reed takes the lead. And Maxwell, I mean, he would be my driver of the day because he has done it once again. Gareth has had a good performance from 17th place, and so has Scott from 18th. And it's been pretty good. Can you please get these guys into the party?
No problem.
Maxwell and Dodgy, the only people without pens. And but the fastest lap goes to Neelix, but he's outside the top 10, so that will not count. Looks like Scott Lane and Colden didn't have pens either. And that was a tough race for the boys at the back, especially Colden early on. But he did outbrake himself, of course, down into turn 1.
Yeah, obviously getting disconnected in the formation. That probably wasn't ideal either. Or before the race started, sorry. Yes, sir. My debut.
As we wait for Maxwell.
I've invited him.
Another invite.
I've invited him.
Another invite.
I have a very
Give
sweaty
him
bum.
another invite.
There he is.
As there he is. And so Panther, if you want to do third and second, and I'll do first.
No problem. So
we'll start off,
Maxwell, obviously congratulations on the podium first of all. Obviously you've jumped 14 places to finish on the podium yet again, so congratulations on that. Can you talk us through your race? And obviously that start, because we couldn't see how you gained so many positions. So if you could talk us through that.
To be honest, it was just a case of I felt like, well, because I'll just go aggressive, you know what I mean, see what can happen. Maybe a few people will be a bit tentative, and gaps just kind of kept appearing, and I was like, again, how have I ended up in this position? So that was ideal. As I say, every week my pace is not there. I have to defend like hell and just get in the good positions, but I think the start made the race for me, and after that was just a case of Sam bringing them in at the right time, and the virtual safety car helped us and got us the undercut on Jester, and then after that it was just a case of just manage the gap to count.
Yeah, obviously came under a bit of pressure from Charlie there towards the end as well. What was he closing in? I've seen you similar kind of levels of ARS as well, so probably had you under a little bit of pressure. But yeah, did you start to feel it towards the end, or was it plain sailing?
There was pressure there. The good thing about the game these days is you've got the idea of the penalties. So I know what Charlie's penalties were, but he's been somebody that I've noticed for the practice sessions that he's had pace all weekend. So I was like, right. I was at one stage, I'm like, I just let him through and let him fight Cowan, because obviously they were in their own race for the same penalties, and I'm like, just truly train him as best we can, and let's say, thankfully, he never get by. But no, there was a lot of pressure from Charlie, man. He was really good this weekend. But yeah, overall.
Yeah,
Good.
great result again in the end, buddy. So congratulations.
Thanks, bud.
On to P2, we've got Dodgy. Carrying on from your win last week. Great race again. I think it was a big call to kind of leave your wing on, obviously considering new damage. So, did you? Sorry.
You're right, for me.
I think we've lost them.
Oh no, sorry, we're just lagging a bit. No, yeah, you had a great result in P2, obviously. So, can you talk us through the strategy call and how you were racing against the co-winner teammate and all?
Yeah, I mean, can we just have a dry race in Division 3, please? That's the first thing. But no, the start it seemed okay, but then I seen a lot of cars got a better start behind me, so I was worried about turn 1, and then obviously I think it might have been called, and I'm not sure, but there was a Mercedes just came ploughing through, and that's when I got the wing damage. So I just thought, get back on track. Let's see how it goes. First couple of laps, but the grip seemed to be there. The pace was there. I didn't feel like the car was misbehaving, so to speak, with the yellow wing. So I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to carry on going. So I did. Race pace with Cowan, obviously my teammate, was pretty much identical. We were pretty much eye for an eye for most of that race. It's just a bit unlucky that he picked up a couple of penalties. Obviously, towards the end, when I did get past him, we were talking in the party, and I said, "Look, Cowan, Maxwell's behind us. He might have a bit of pace. Is there any chance I can get past you? Because then you can probably slow him up a bit." But everything worked out all right. I was never going to catch Hypers. Unfortunately, he had about a 9 or 10 second gap. But all in all, I'm happy with that. Wet race. Brought it home, got a second place, so happy with that.
Yeah. Congratulations again, buddy. Great carrying on your form from Canada last week. So, congratulations, fair play.
Thank you.
So then, yeah, I'll take it over then, and we'll move on to the race winner, SLR Hypers, back on the top step once again and back into the championship lead. It was, obviously we had Colden flying in at the start, and luckily it was not you that it took out Dodgy instead, which was a shame for him. But yeah, you were clear, got a good enough start to avoid any sort of contact from behind into turn 1, and then never looked back really. So how was that for you? Probably pretty boring, but it was a good drive nonetheless.
Yeah, it was. Obviously, the starts on the wet are always going to be a little bit cautious. I didn't get the best start, and I saw Cohen come up alongside me. I think I had a little bit of a low downforce setup compared to a lot of drivers, so I was slow through the corners but fast in the straight. So I think that helped with my launch. And yeah, I did see a little bit of kerfuffle in the rear view mirror. And like you say, yeah, never looked back. Drove. It was pretty uneventful. I had a few little wiggles and a few little understeers and oversteers throughout the race. But kept it on track. I knew sort of soon on, or when Cohen pitted and picked up his penalty, that all I had to do really was keep it on track and not get any more penalties, and I might have had the win in the bag. But obviously, in a wet race, anything can happen. A safety car at any point in there would have just changed everything.
Yeah, I think, we were in the commentary box thinking, can we have a safety car to liven it up a bit, but you were probably like, no safety cars, please. You obviously had that penalty, but it didn't come in the end, and I think it was a well-deserved victory, so well done on a good performance.
Yeah, thank you, and obviously well done to everyone that finished. Again, a race like that, to have, I think, 17 cars finished then, 16 cars? It's not bad. We didn't have a full safety car. I think it just goes to show the level of driving in Div 3 at the moment. I think it's really taken a step up in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Div 3 has been ever improving, and it's good to see from the boys. So Panther, what were your thoughts on your first episode?
I mean, I hope I didn't give you too much to do. Obviously, happy to make my comms debut. So, yeah, obviously, a wet race can be a bit uneventful, but yeah, the three boys put on a good show, and yeah, hope to be back sometime in the near future to commentate in another race. So, thanks for having me, and congrats again to the boys on the podium and everyone that finished. So, thank you very much.
No, thank you as well. So then we will round it off there. It was Hypers that won the day in the end, and he takes the championship lead. Dodgy and Maxwell round off the podium. Maxwell is the most present guy on the podium currently, so he's absolutely loving it. And all the McLaren boys are absolutely loving it every week when they see Maxwell on the podium recently. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight for the championship, that's for sure, as I'm sure the Renault boys will go at it, and Dodgy is coming back into it as well. But we're not finished here for France. We have Elite tomorrow where you'll see me clown on it probably at some point. And yeah, that will be at 7 PM tomorrow night. And yeah, you can see the Elite boys go at it. They are the best of the best. Or should be the best of the best anyway. And hopefully the race is enjoyable to watch for you guys. It has been a pleasure as always to commentate over Div 3, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night, whatever you are doing. And it's a goodbye from me. Good night.
Bye.